We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a big rumor regarding the WWE's plans for the Fiend Bray Wyatt, following his Universal Championship loss to Roman Reigns back at the Payback 2020 pay-per-view event. As we have discussed in several of our previous videos, the general consensus behind the scenes in WWE is that Vince McMahon is planning for The Fiend to finally unveil his new Wyatt family in the very near future, with the rumored members of this new Wyatt family being Alexa Bliss portraying the Sister Abigail character, Braun Strowman rejoining the family with his Black Sheep mask and persona, a returning Lars Sullivan as a completely new member to the group, and potentially even Bo Dallas as well if the rumors of Bo being a part of the Retribution faction prove to be untrue. However, while the speculation of The Fiend forming a new Wyatt family has certainly got many wrestling fans very excited for what's to come over the next few months on Friday Night SmackDown, with a monstrous new dominant faction amongst the roster, according to one of our sources, Vince McMahon is already planning The Fiend's first feud post Braun Strowman, and by all means it's very exciting to say the least. As some of you are likely aware, current Intercontinental Champion Jeff Hardy had a very intriguing character and persona in TNA Impact Wrestling that many fans hoped would eventually make its way to WWE programming, following Hardy's return to the company a few years ago, with that persona being the rather terrifying Willow character and alter ego. And while there had been some rumors going around last year that Vince did not have any plans to introduce Willow Jeff Hardy to WWE fans, apparently that has all changed over the past couple of weeks, and McMahon and other backstage WWE officials are reportedly more interested than ever before to introduce the Willow Jeff Hardy persona to the WWE in the near future, to be the Fiend Bray Wyatt's rival for the next few months on SmackDown, with the rivalry being far more than just determining which alter ego and crazy supernatural force is stronger or better than the other, between the Fiend and Willow Jeff Hardy, but the Intercontinental Championship would also be at stake in the feud as well, with one source mentioning that Vince believes such a massive storyline would add immense interest in the mid-card IC title scene, and basically increase the interest in SmackDown to a much larger extent than simply having a strong main event scene, with backstage officials believing a Willow Jeff Hardy versus Fiend Bray Wyatt storyline would draw big ratings for the WWE, especially with the fact that The Fiend would also have his new Wyatt family by his side in the rivalry as well. For those of you who may not have heard yet, Jeff Hardy himself revealed earlier today that he has an interest in bringing the Willow character to WWE to feud with the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and this is reportedly Vince's way of subtly teasing this intense rivalry to come later on this year. One new backstage rumor has indicated that Vince is secretly planning for the Fiend Bray Wyatt to eventually defeat Willow Jeff Hardy and win the Intercontinental Championship for the first time in his career, likely with the help of his Wyatt family members, but that certainly would not be the end of Willow Jeff Hardy in WWE, as the rumor also states that the scary Willow Jeff Hardy would then join the Fiend's Wyatt family, to truly cement this faction as being the most powerful in WWE, with Jeff apparently not only being very interested in getting to work with the Fiend Bray Wyatt in a big storyline, but also acting as one of the Fiend's loyal followers as Willow. Let us know if you'd be interested in seeing a rivalry between the Fiend Bray Wyatt and a debuting Willow Jeff Hardy later this year, and would you also like to see Willow Jeff Hardy eventually join the Fiend's new Wyatt family after failing to defeat Bray in their storyline, or do you think the WWE should keep the Fiend and Willow separate even if the Fiend defeats Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental title? Earlier this year, when the WWE ended up releasing a big number of superstars for budget-cutting reasons, amongst the most shocking of the superstars let go was certainly Hall of Famer Kurt Angle, because despite the fact that Kurt is well past his prime and is not going to be doing anything too major from an in-ring standpoint, it was still definitely surprising to see Vince fire Kurt Angle, as Kurt still has plenty to offer the company, whether it be acting as a manager of some kind, perhaps managing another WWE superstar and guiding them to some of the success Kurt achieved in his illustrious career, or simply just appearing every now and then on TV for a little bump in viewership due to Kurt Angle's big name value. However, Kurt is now gone from the WWE, and despite a surprise appearance as a special guest referee for the NXT cage fight between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher, apparently no effort has been made on Vince's behalf to re-sign Kurt Angle to WWE, and if a new rumor proves to be true, this may end up being a big loss for WWE, and possibly a huge gain for Vince's competition AEW. In a recent interview, while Kurt Angle casually brushed off the possibility of joining All Elite Wrestling in the near future, with Kurt stating that he's content with running a supplement business right now. One of our sources has mentioned that AEW are very much interested in the idea of signing Kurt Angle, with one source mentioning that AEW see potential in not only Kurt Angle acting as some kind of a manager, but also as an in-ring talent every now and then as well, because of the fact that Kurt Angle has been getting his health back on track and getting in great shape once again. With Rusev's surprise debut in AEW recently, it certainly seems more likely than ever before that Kurt Angle would also accept a big money contract offer from AEW, especially taking into account the fact that Vince has shown no interest in re-signing the Olympic gold medalist. So a Kurt Angle debut in AEW is reportedly very likely sometime early next year in 2021. Let us know if you think Vince is making a big mistake by not even trying to get Kurt Angle to return to WWE, despite Kurt recently stating that he was wanting to come back and was upset that the WWE did not even bother to reach out, and he believed Kurt Angle would be a valuable addition to the AEW roster. We now have our main story featured in this video, and it's all about the new rumors that have began going around regarding Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's rumored return to the WWE in the very near future, to partake in one final feud or rivalry before officially retiring from sports entertainment for good. For those of you unaware, while most fans have considered The Rock to be retired from WWE, Dwayne has made it abundantly clear to fans that he would be willing to make a return to WWE in an in-ring capacity if he were to be given a big feud against his cousin Roman Reigns for a WrestleMania event, and apparently The Rock will in fact be getting his wish very soon, with one new rumor indicating that McMahon feels it's getting close to finally moving ahead with the Roman Reigns versus The Rock feud, mainly because of the fact that Roman Reigns is now a monstrous heel, and McMahon reportedly did not want to do the storyline previously when it had been considered backstage, because of the fact that it would have been a babyface versus babyface angle, and would not have been nearly as intriguing for fans. Apparently, if the WWE do in fact eventually move ahead with the Roman Reigns versus Rock storyline, it would basically begin with Roman alienating his cousins the Usos after Roman, Jey and Jimmy form a bit of a new Shield faction in the near future, with the underlying story being that Reigns would be getting too big of an ego as a heel, and inevitably push the Usos to the side, with it very likely that Roman would completely turn on the Usos and destroy them after Paul Heyman instructs the big dog to do so, which Vince thinks would garner Reigns lots of heat from fans, with The Rock then making his return on an episode of SmackDown in late 2020 to confront Roman Reigns for losing sight of what's truly important in life, that being his family, which includes the Usos, and that Roman's new manager Paul Heyman was doing no good for him and changing him for the worse, only for Roman to then attack The Rock and thus begin their feud, with the Usos likely to form a new faction with The Rock in early 2021, leading up to WrestleMania 37, where Roman Reigns would be defending his Universal Championship against The Rock in the main event of the show, a match McMahon reportedly believes would make WrestleMania next year a must-see event.